We're going to be wearing the same clothes. We're going to be putting it out a week later.
Cars and they all black, got 4 bras and they all that. We call that ballin'. Doing this is my calling. Flow is so appalling. My phone.
What's up? I'm Sal.
I'm RJ and this is Dos.
And Tres. This week is the second week of our series going into the biggest questions of every division and each team within it, and we're going to do the AFC East this week.
So as we all know, the AFC East has predominantly been dominated by the Patriots for, I don't know, the past millennial.
Before we were born.
Before we were born, definitely. So we'll start off with the Jets. The Jets, they got some killers back there during the draft with May and Jamal Adams. They have a good, pretty front seven. Their cornerbacks are absolute garbage. They really only have Buster String going. But the main question here, the quarterback class next year coming out is insane as far as the perspective of the eye goes right now. It's going to be insane. The quarterback out of Wyoming.
You could have gone in the first round this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. Probably would have been first pick overall. But are you going to play McCown as far as, because he's aging, he's more of a quarterback that just comes in and plays for a franchise that's really just staying out. They're just not really doing anything. They're playing for next year. Or are you going to go with the guy who, in my opinion, and his opinion also, has the most potential in the quarterback depth chart right now, and that's Christian Hackenberg. Hackenberg is so young, and I remember watching him at Penn State, and he just showed great flashes of intelligence and throws. And I know after really Bill O'Brien left, he kind of stumbled out, but that's what he needs, somebody to commit to him and be behind him fully. And I think if they have that and they commit to him, I think in my opinion, I think he'll turn out to be a pretty good quarterback.
I agree with committing to Hackenberg because he showed flashes in college. My thing was, whenever he was in college, the Texans are going to take him because Bill O'Brien was there. And somehow they effed that up too, and now they are where they are. Hackenberg is a good quarterback to develop. Unfortunately, there may not be the guys and the tools there to develop him as far as the front office and coaching goes. Todd Bowles, the coach, is very defensive-minded. What saved him on the Cardinals was that Bruce Arians was super offensive-minded. So for Hackenberg's sake and for anyone they draft possibly next year, I don't really know if they're going to have anything to go off of there. And, defensively, like you said, their cornerbacks, I mean, Screen's a small corner as it is. I don't think he's a true outside corner. And outside of him, you don't have anything. And they didn't really draft anybody either. You're really going to depend on Marcus May and Jamal Adams really showing out, which they will, but I mean, they can't cover 6 guys on the field.
Which, that's fine if you want to play cover 2 shell the whole entire game and just have those guys back there, helping the cornerbacks know that Adams and May are going to be back there protecting their side the whole entire time.
Next up is the Bills, and the biggest question on offense for me is just what kind of offense are they going to be? Last year, after they fired their offensive coordinator, they really got to a run focus with Anthony Lynn, but now he left. So what are they going to be? They have Shady, they have Tyrod, who the new GM's not really committing to, but the head coach is committed to. It's a really weird situation there. I don't really know what they're going to be. Well, you have pieces there. You drafted Zay Jones. Sammy Watkins going to want to prove everything because he didn't pick up his option. So there's potential there. They're always that team that's on the cusp of, getting there, and they just don't make it.
Yeah, they have really good players that they've been drafting, and hopefully Lawson and Ragland end up shaking out to be who Rex wanted them to be. I'm not too sure how it's going to play out too as far as the defensive side. But I like what they're doing in the offseason, getting guys that they trust and that they know, especially the guy who started off as a ticket intern for the Panthers, and getting them as their assistant GM and everything. They're really shaping things up the way Sean McDermott wants it. He's running the show, and I really like that when a coach can do what he wants to do and not have stuff being run by the front office predominantly all the time. And I really like, on the offense side of the ball, I really like the pistol offset formation. I feel like that they need to stick with that formation, because to me it feels like Tyrod and Shady, they feel most comfortable in that formation. As far as with Tyrod's skill set and everything, that's one of the most deadliest formations, in my opinion, with what they have.
And then really on defense, I mean, the question is almost similar to the offense. What kind of defense are they going to be? They lost Rex Ryan, who really gave them their identity whenever he came in. And they also lost Stephon Gilmore, who is one of the top cover corners. But, Sean McDermott coming from the Panthers, they set up a great defense over there. The only thing here is that you're going to be depending on a lot of young guys like Ragland, like Lawson, who's both are coming off of injury after last year's draft, as well as Ronald Darby on the outside. For the Dolphins, on offense, really for me, the question mark, this is the make or break year for Ryan Tannehill. He's shown flashes, of course, but, converting from wide receiver to quarterback, I never even saw him as a first-round pick. I thought it was crazy that he was a first-round pick, but just like this draft, crazy things happen with quarterbacks in the first round. But, this year he fought through adversity. They had an offense based around the run that really helped him. And now Jarvis Landry's talking trash, saying that they're not the little brother of the Patriots after they won the Super Bowl. I love Jarvis Landry from LSU, great receiver, but I don't get the comment. It doesn't make any sense. Of course you're the little brother. Everyone's the little brother to them.
This is another thing where I love what the coach implemented as soon as he started taking over. Gase, I saw the change in mentality and the change in effort as soon as he took over, and I started watching the Dolphins when I could on Sunday Ticket. When Ajayi really got going, that's when Tannehill's game really did elevate. And you might want to say, well, he did start doing good just because of Ajayi, but any quarterback needs a supporting cast, and any quarterback can't be thrown from his back on the ground. In my opinion, Tannehill, I don't think it's a make or break year just because people don't give him as much credit as he should be. But hopefully he ends up having the breakout year coming up after what he did last year, which I thought he finished pretty strong besides that injury that happened.
Something about Gase that I'll say that I really like is that he holds everybody on the team accountable. Ajayi, he didn't even suit up for the first game, but then he ended up being your leading rusher, those breakout 2,000-yard games, and, a lot of different... Those breakout 2,000-yard games.
Breakout 2,000-yard games.
And, a lot of different...
2,000-yard
Dude, I always get that mixed up. 200 yards. 200-yard games. But the guy that I really want to see Gase hold accountable is Ndamukong Suh. Suh was a dominant, just completely disruptive defensive lineman when he was with the Lions. One of my favorite players. Didn't like the dirty things that he would do on the field, but he's just one of the most dominant players in the NFL that anyone's seen in a very long time. But he hasn't really lived up to the big contract that he got with the Dolphins. He hasn't really shown that dominant force that he used to be. I want him to become the leader of this Dolphins defense, as I'm sure Dolphins fans do too, especially with Cameron Wake getting up in age and young guys coming in like Charles Harris. He should really solidify that defensive line and, push this team towards the playoffs.
Yeah, as far as Wake goes, I know I'm pretty sure he did sign that little short-term deal, so that's mainly why I think they took also Charles Harris. They know he's on his way out, but a guy like Wake is one that can still contribute and teach Harris everything that he needs to know. Yeah, hopefully everything shapes up with Ndamukong, and hopefully that defensive line solidifies himself this coming year.
Finally, the Patriots, the Super Bowl champs. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons, just completely collapsing, just like that bridge over there. On offense, their biggest question is Gronk. I mean, Gronk is another one of those dominant guys that you've seen in years, but he can't stay healthy. I mean, I think this offense is kind of depending on him now. They don't have Martellus Bennett anymore. Like, if he does go down again, who's going to fill in for him? I know Patriots fans and other people will just say, I'll find somebody, but that's a big piece of the offense to lose. Luckily, they had Bennett to fill in last year. They can't just put one of their 30 running backs at tight end. That's not going to work.
Yeah, I know they traded for Dwayne Allen in the offseason, but Dwayne Allen's, I don't think, is athletic or close to Martellus as far as athleticism standpoint goes, which is what, Gronk and Martellus are known for at the tight end position. And also, what's going to happen if that does happen, if Gronk does go down? I know we have Cooks, Edelman, and Amendola, but you really want somebody still in the middle of the field to really take up a safety or help stretch it where you can have your guys still work, not just your defense, just predominantly playing you just underneath, staying, well, we know they're not going to stretch the field really.
Well, another thing about Dwayne Allen, the biggest difference between him and these other tight ends is the hands. The dude, he just drops passes all the time. And you can say, hey, maybe Brady will elevate him, but he had Andrew Luck throwing him passes, and he still dropped those. But anyway, on to the defense. How are they going to generate a pass rush? You really saw this in the Super Bowl. They couldn't get at Matt Ryan until the fourth quarter when everyone was dog-tired. They have Trey Flowers, who's a pretty good player. One of those fines that the Patriots get. They drafted Derek Rivers. Last year they had Chris Long, veteran, who filled in. These guys, they're just young guys that, they can probably produce, like at the end of games, once the game has gotten going, but they're not going to be dominant guys. And I think the Patriots really need that turnover mentality as far as the offense goes so they can get more opportunities with the ball.
But I think their secondary will still be strong with signing Gilmore, McCourty still back there, and Patrick Chung and those guys that they've had back there for a little while now.
So that's it for the AFC East, biggest questions leading into training camp. If you like this video and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe to us at Dos and Tres.
And if you want to be a super subscriber, hit the bell down and for notifications anytime we upload a new video. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Dos and Tres YT.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay, it's rap pack to my pulse flat. We keep it real, no false rap. I got 4 cars and they all black. Got 4 bras and they all that. We call that ballin'. Doing this is my calling. Flow is so appalling. My phone off and she calling. I'm like, yeah, what it do? Penthouse, man, what a view. Fall back cause I'm coming through with my whole team. They coming too.